The world has become so complex, so simple solutions to complex problems do not suffice anymore.
Our current situation, it is part of human evolution, and this is part of human history.
We know the world should be more resilient. We have learned the lesson.
Country who have strong government with future foresight can evolve totally different.
We really work together on a global level to make sure that we use the potential of the fourth industrial revolution for the benefit of mankind.
Shalom, like to give all undergoing praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, like your double honors to our apostles and elders, great millstone. Salutations to our sister Akim, pushing this word across the four corners of the world. And this is just a quick news update from an article from the sociable.co. And it says WEF founder, which stands for World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab calls for a great narrative for humankind at meeting in Dubai. And this guy right here, as you can see on the screen, Klaus Schwab, he's a higher up for the Tabernacle of Esau Edom. And he's also the founder and executive chairman for the World Economic Forum. And he's also known for his speech or quote that he stated not too long ago, that the pandemic represents a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reflect, reimagine, and reset our world, translating into this global transformation or this new world order, where the higher ups of Esau Edom, along with their counterparts, these other nations, are definitely all tied in into trying to fulfill this NWO agenda. And that's where you have this great narrative meeting came about that took place in Dubai. And I want to say this happened around November 11th, 2021. And it says the WEF is about to have a great narrative to go with the Great Reset agenda perspective. World Economic Forum founder Klaus Schwab launches the Great Narrative meeting in Dubai, which aims to create a story for the future that will be the great narrative for humankind. The WEF's Great Reset is about to have a great narrative to further its agenda. And you go into the word agenda, it goes to a list of items or things to be discussed in a meeting. And dealing with Esau Edom, pursuant to the book of Malachi, the first chapter, they are known as the border of wickedness. And these are people that the Most High Yahweh, through his only begotten Son, Yahushai, have indignation with forever. So anything that's dealing with Esau's narrative, going into his lies, his falsehoods, his deceptions and witchcrafts, it's not going to be put into a positive manner. Which leads me to the book of Psalm, the 58th chapter, and the 3rd verse. And it says, the wicked are estranged from the womb. And again, the wicked is referring to the tabernacle of Esau Edom. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. So anything that this so-called white man does, say, or represents is all falsehoods. It's not beneficial to the world, especially this so-called great narrative meeting or agenda. It's not in the best interest for you Israelites, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And it says right here in verse 4, they're poison going into his democracy, going to that Babylonian wine, which is totally adverse into the true order of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai via the Holy Scriptures. So that's part of his poison, because he's a serpent at the end of the day. A serpent is a cunning, crafty, deceitful man. And that truly embodies the tabernacle of Edom, especially dealing with these higher ups. So their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stop at her ear. And the deaf adder is a poisonous serpent or snake. And you get bit by that poisonous serpent or snake, it's not beneficial to your well-being, especially for you Israelites. By believing into this system, by following his order, his mandates, by going against your creator, your power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And that's the only thing what the elites of Esau Edom wants to do. They want to continue to deviate and separate you from your power source, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So you cannot have anything to plug in spiritually to a higher source. They want you to depend on them, trust into their science, and the list goes on. So all of that via his mainstream news, all that wickedness and witchcraft is a part of his poison. So that's why it states their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stop at her ear. So dealing with this great narrative, going into his great story or his great falsehood, is poison at the end of the day, because it's not beneficial to the well-being of you Israelites, especially if you're trying to connect to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Which leads me to the book of Psalm 144, verse 7. Send thy hand from above, rid me, and deliver me out of great waters, from the hand of strange children. Verse 8, whose mouth speaketh vanity. Going right again with Psalm, the 58th chapter, the 3rd verse. The wicked are strange from the womb, as soon as it be born, speaking lies. So it states right here, whose mouth speaketh vanity. And vanity means empty. That vainglory. And a part of that vanity is going to his great reset, or that global reset, this new world order. And that's why you have all these different presidents back in the past, all these different lesser luminaries. They always mention something about a new world order, because they really think in their hearts or their spirit that they are going to be 100% successful into this NWO agenda or this great narrative. So through the spirit that Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is speaking through King David right here, it states, whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hand is a right hand of falsehood. So they're not going to be 100% successful in fulfilling this global reset. And it states right here, and that right hand is a right hand of falsehood. So your right hand is supposed to be your hand of honor, integrity. So anything that this so-called white man does is telling you it's honorable in wickedness, mischief, witchcrafts, deceits. And that's a part of his great narrative. Just look at the world we live in today, where you have the biblical characters, our forefathers, which were so-called dark-skinned people, but you can just type their names up on Google search and go to images, and you will see nothing but this so-called white man's white supremacy. And that's a part of his great narrative. And it states right here, and their right hand is a right hand of falsehood, meaning lies. And that's just something spiritual that majority of our people cannot be able to see in these latter days. So it says the WEL's Great Reset is about to have a great narrative to further its agenda. And like I stated, that this so-called white man's agenda or this great narrative is not in the best interest of you Israelites. That's why it stated in Zephaniah, the 2nd chapter, O nation not desired. We're not in the best interest or regard for these higher ups of Esau, Edom, along with their counterparts, these other nations who are their joint heirs. And he states right here, we are here to develop the great narrative, a story for the future, Klaus Schwab, Great Narrative Meeting 2021. Speaking at the Great Narrative Meeting in Dubai, United Arab Emirates today, Schwab announced his intent to develop a great narrative that public and private entities will use to shape the future of humanity. So the scriptures tell us through the Spirit that the earth is given unto the hand of the wicked. And through the Spirit, we can define who the wicked is according to the book of Malachi, the 1st chapter, talking about Esau, Edom, which are the so-called Caucasian race, beginning with these higher ups of them. So here they are at this great narrative meeting that took place in Dubai on November 11th, and they want to discuss the shape of the future of humanity. They want to discuss the betterment of humanity. But according to the book of Isaiah, the 24th chapter, it says how the earth is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. So it's nothing but hypocrisy. So anything dealing with this so-called white man speaking about the betterment of humanity, you best believe that it's adverse to the ways of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Because everything that Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua has ordained via his laws, statutes, commandments, how to cultivate the earth and keep it into a better running shape, this so-called white man does the totally opposite. And that's why he's known as Satan. Because you read into the book of 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, it states, whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. So anything that this so-called white man embodies is adverse to the ways of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. As it says in Ecclesiastes, that which is made crooked cannot be made straight. So everything that he does is totally adverse to righteousness. And here it is with this so-called white man having a meeting in Dubai discussing humanity. But he's death personified. And it says, in order to shape the future, you have first to imagine the future, you have to design the future, and then you have to execute it, he added. And this is all going to this global transformation where they want to digitalize this whole currency. With this so-called pandemic, which was that rare but narrow window opportunity to go ahead and reset this world. And this is all going to lead into crashing this American dollar, these Federal Reserve notes. Everything's going to be digitalized. And this is going to go into that new currency, the Karatma, mentioned in the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter. And that's why they're so heavily into transcending into this artificial intelligence, human cyborgs, this bionic living, 5G, trusting into the science. This is a part of this great narrative for this great reset. In the States right here, the great narrative meeting runs for 2 days where the unelected globalists will brainstorm ideas on how to run society from the top down, and they will publish their findings in a book called The Great Narrative in early 2022. So they want to brainstorm ideas, which leads me to the book of Isaiah 29 verse 15. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And part of those counsels is going to the elites of Esau, Edom, along with their counterparts, these other nations, those dark, diabolical, secret councils. That's why they're known as the workers of iniquity. And that's why our forefather King David stated, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, because he knew through the spirit anything that these workers of iniquity is doing or brainstorming about is not beneficial for him nor for his people. So how much more now in these latter days where the elites of Esau, Edom keep vocalizing about this great reset, this global transformation. Trust the science. And it states, and their works are in the dark, and they say who see us and who know us. Because at these meetings, they're passing unrighteous decrees. They're brainstorming unrighteous decrees and grievousness and wickedness. And that was the biggest strength of this so-called Illuminati, was their secrecy. Now it's more in the open where the average person know about this so-called Illuminati. So that's why it states right here, and their works are in the dark, and they say who see us. So let's see who seeth them, which leads me to the book of 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, and the 8th verse. And then should that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord should consume with the spirit of his mouth, via the holy prophets of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and should destroy with the brightness of his coming. So through the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that was bestowed upon his holy prophets, and Abaratazat, that's us in these latter days, are exposing the wickedness, the mischiefs, all the deceits and falsehoods of this so-called white man. And you also have these whistleblowers who were once a part of these dark secret councils. Now they're coming out to the forefront and telling you about the secrets of the elites of Esau, Edom. And that's also a part of biblical prophecies pursuant to the book of Psalm 64 and 8. So they should make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. So that's just the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai bringing truth throughout the whole world now, and exposing all the wickedness that the elites of Esau, Edom, along with their counterparts, have been doing for many, many, many years. Which leads me to the book of Luke, the 8th chapter and the 17th verse. For nothing is secret that should not be made manifest. Hence this Illuminati, this great reset, this great narrative, all these dark secret councils, these different pandemic exercises, this dark winter, all those things. These diabolical events are not being secretive anymore because we are at the end of this so-called white man's rulership, where truth is being more exposed now. So for nothing is secret that should not be made manifest, neither anything hid that should not be known and come abroad. And that's just the spirit of truth, which represents the spirit of Yahweh Shai that's being brought and forecasted throughout the whole four corners of this world. Which leads me to the book of Job, the 5th chapter and 12th verse. He disappointed the devices of the crafty, and that's going to the Heavenly Father Yahweh, giving the approved signal to his only begotten son Yahweh Shai to tell him, son, go. And that's when he's going to disappoint the devices of the crafty, going to these higher ups of Esau, Edom, along with their great narrative, their great reset, their global transformation. He's going to upset their plans and implement his own new world order, which is going to a righteous, everlasting new world order. So he disappointed the devices of the crafty, going to that serpent, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. And his enterprise, or his success, which is ultimately going into marking everybody on this planet Earth. That's why it's stated in the book of Revelation 13th chapter, and he calls it all, except for the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. And you're also going to have a lot of these other nations, they're not going to be willing participants of this enterprise. So that concludes the video, and that was just a quick news update through the spirit for the ones of you that did not know about this great narrative meeting that took place in Dubai. And of course, mainstream news did not cover it. So our brothers out, you was edified again. Like to give all honor and glory again to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Like give double honors to our apostles and elders, great millstone. Salutations to all you say Akim. You all keep pushing forward, stay strong. Shalom.
Today, not anymore the separation between social, political, technological, ecological. It's all interwoven.
And I think the role of government is very important, and we felt it during the pandemic. Our job is to design a better future. In the Emirates, we believe that we are designers. As designer, as the government is to bring people and humanity together. Our job is to develop people.